The night was quiet in the small town of Lakeside. Most houses were dark except for a few nightlights. In one blue house on Maple Street, 8-year-old Peter Collins slept peacefully. His room was filled with space posters and dinosaur toys. His favorite stuffed dinosaur, a green T-Rex named Chompy, was tucked under his arm. Above the town, hidden by advanced technology, the spaceship Eternal Vigilance hovered silently. The ship belonged to the Galactic Concordat, a group of 27 alien species who ruled most of the known galaxy. They had been watching Earth for many years, studying humans from a distance. Lieutenant Commander Zix Von stood on the bridge, looking at the screens showing the sleeping town below. He was a Draxian, with green, scaly skin, 4 yellow eyes, and mandibles that clicked when he was nervous. And tonight, he was very nervous. "Are all systems ready?" he asked, turning to Junior Officer Meal. Meal was smaller than Zix Von, with light blue skin and 2 long antennae that moved constantly, sensing the environment around her. She belonged to the Valerian species, known for their careful attention to detail. "Yes, Commander," she replied, checking her control panel one last time. "The scan shows a suitable specimen in the target house. Young human, male, approximately 8 Earth years old. No pets. Parents sleeping in a different room." Zix Von took a deep breath. What they were about to do broke many rules. The Concordat had strict laws about interfering with developing species. Humans were considered primitive by galactic standards. They had only reached their moon and sent a few robots to nearby planets. According to Concordat scientists, humans were at least 100 years away from developing true space travel. But recently, some council members had become worried about Earth. Humans were developing technology too quickly. Several observation posts near Earth had mysteriously stopped sending reports. The council wanted to understand humans better, and they had secretly ordered the collection of specimens. "Begin the extraction," Zix Von ordered, his mandibles clicking rapidly. Meal pressed several buttons on her console. Below them, a beam of pale blue light shot down from the ship, passing through the roof of Peter's house as if it wasn't there. The beam surrounded the sleeping boy, lifting him gently from his bed. "Specimen secure," Meal reported. "Vital signs stable." Just as Peter began floating upward, still asleep and holding his dinosaur toy, his bedroom door opened. John Collins, Peter's father, stepped into the room to check on his son before going to bed himself. For one frozen moment, John stared at the impossible sight of his son floating in a beam of light. Then he lunged forward, trying to grab Peter's leg. "No," he shouted. "Peter." But his hands passed through the energy field surrounding the boy. John fell to his knees, watching helplessly as his son disappeared through the ceiling. "Unexpected. Complication," Meal reported, her antennae flattening against her head in alarm. An adult human witnessed the extraction. Zix Von cursed in his native language. "It's too late to abort. Complete the process and prepare for immediate departure." In the holding area of the ship, Peter Collins appeared on a specially prepared examination table. He was still asleep thanks to the stasis field, his small chest rising and falling steadily. The stuffed dinosaur remained clutched in his hand. "Specimen secured," announced the medical officer, a tall, thin alien with 6 arms. "This is the 5th one. The council will be pleased." Zix Von wasn't so sure. He looked at the small human child and felt a strange sense of unease. This was the first time a parent had witnessed an abduction. Would it matter? Humans were still primitive. What could they possibly do? Back on Earth, chaos was unfolding. John Collins had immediately called the police, who at first thought he was crazy or drunk. But within an hour, serious-looking government agents arrived at his house. They took John to a special room and asked him many questions. By morning, the news had spread. It wasn't the first child to disappear mysteriously. In the past month, 4 other children from different parts of the world had vanished from their beds. Parents in New York, Tokyo, London, and Rio de Janeiro had all reported similar impossible stories. At NASA headquarters, Commander Nancy Miller sat in a top-secret meeting room deep underground. On the wall were photos of the 5 missing children. Peter Collins was the newest addition. "This is the 5th abduction in 30 days, she said to the group of military officers and scientists gathered around the table. We can no longer deny what's happening. General Frank Roberts nodded grimly. The President has given us full authorization. Project Spartan is now active. The scientists in the room looked shocked. Dr. Greg Howard, a thin man with thick glasses, spoke up. But Spartan isn't ready. We've only completed preliminary tests on the propulsion systems. We don't have a choice, Nancy replied firmly. They're taking our children now. In another part of the facility, a massive hangar door slid open, revealing an enormous spacecraft unlike anything publicly known to exist on Earth. It was sleek and dark, combining both human engineering and technology reverse engineered from crashed alien vessels that governments had been hiding for decades. Captain Linda Martinez walked along the bridge of the ship, now named Earth's Vengeance. She had trained for years for a mission she hoped would never come. Begin pre-launch sequence, she ordered her crew. All personnel to battle stations. Around the world, 5 other similar ships were preparing for launch. Humanity had been secretly preparing for this moment, building weapons and ships using technology they had carefully gathered and studied. The aliens thought humans were primitive, but they were wrong. As the Eternal Vigilance sped away from Earth toward the concordant homeworld, Zixavan had no idea that he had just started a war. He looked again at the sleeping human child and wondered why his superiors wanted these specimens so badly. There was nothing special about humans, was there? He was about to find out just how wrong he was. In the depths of space, Earth's secret fleet prepared to reveal itself to the galaxy, not as explorers or diplomats, but as warriors coming to rescue their stolen children. The aliens would soon learn a terrible lesson. Never take a human child from its parents. The Eternal Vigilance traveled through space at incredible speed. Inside the ship, Peter Collins remained in a deep sleep on the examination table. The ship's medical officer, Dr. Zelb, carefully monitored the boy's vital signs. Fascinating, Zelb muttered, examining the data on his screen. The human child shows unusual brain activity even in stasis. Lieutenant Commander Zixavan entered the medical bay and looked at the sleeping boy. Is the specimen stable? Yes, Commander, Zelb replied. And please refer to him as the child or the subject. Specimen sounds unpleasant. Zixavan clicked his mandibles in irritation but nodded. 5 days of space travel had made him tense. Something about this mission felt wrong. How long until we reach Xandar Prime? Zelb asked. 2 more days, Zixavan answered. Then we deliver all 5 children to the Council. On the ship's bridge, Junior Officer Meal was monitoring deep space communications when she noticed something strange. Several concordant outposts near Earth's solar system had gone silent. She reported this to Zixavan immediately. It's probably nothing, Zixavan said after reviewing the data. Perhaps solar flares or asteroid impacts. Increase our speed. I want to reach Xandar Prime as soon as possible. Meanwhile, on Earth, governments around the world had declared states of emergency. The disappearance of 5 children had finally forced world leaders to reveal a secret they had kept for decades. Earth was not alone in the universe, and humans had been preparing for this moment. In the underground hangar, Captain Linda Martinez addressed the crew of Earth's Vengeance. 200 men and women stood at attention, their faces serious. For 50 years we've been gathering alien technology, learning their languages and building our defenses, she said. We hoped first contact would be peaceful, but they've taken our children and that cannot stand. Our mission is clear: find the abducted children and bring them home. Dr. Paul Evans, the ship's chief medical officer, approached Linda after the briefing. Captain, the Nemesis volunteers are ready, but I must warn you again, the serum is experimental. We don't know all the side effects. Linda nodded grimly. I understand the risks, Doctor, but we need every advantage we can get. In another part of the ship, 12 volunteers prepared for a dangerous procedure. The Nemesis serum, developed from alien DNA recovered from crashed scout ships, would temporarily enhance their strength, speed, and healing abilities. It was dangerous, but these men and women, all parents themselves, had volunteered without hesitation. Major Steve Russell, leader of the rescue team, was the first to receive the injection. As the blue liquid entered his veins, he gritted, his teeth against the pain. His skin glowed faintly for a moment, then returned to normal. "How do you feel?" Dr. Evans asked anxiously. Steve stood up and flexed his hand. "Different. Stronger." He picked up a metal bar and bent it easily. "It works." Earth's Vengeance and 5 other ships launched simultaneously from hidden facilities around the world. They rose into space without using conventional rockets. Instead, they used gravity manipulation technology reverse-engineered from alien craft. To anyone watching from Earth, they simply vanished. In deep space, the ships activated their experimental slip-space drives, tearing holes in the fabric of space-time. The technology was crude compared to what the Concordat possessed, but it worked. The human fleet entered slipspace moving faster than any Earth vessel had ever traveled before. 2 days later, the Eternal Vigilance approached Xandar Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Concordat. Zix Von prepared to deliver his report to the Council personally. Xandar Prime was a beautiful world with 3 moons and rings similar to Saturn. The Council headquarters was a massive structure that floated above the planet's surface, surrounded by defense systems and hundreds of ships. As the Eternal Vigilance approached, Zix Von received an urgent message from the Council. Their tone was not congratulatory as he had expected. On Xandar Prime, the Council of Elders had convened an emergency session. Representatives from all 27 species sat in a large circular chamber. At the center stood Ambassador Krell, the Draxian representative who had originally authorized the human abduction mission. The main screen showed images of the 5 human children, all sleeping in stasis pods aboard the Eternal Vigilance. "You captured human offspring?" Elder Tholak asked, his ancient voice trembling with anger. The Valerian's skin had turned a pale blue, a sign of extreme distress. "Are you completely insane?" Ambassador Krell shifted uncomfortably. "With respect, Elder, humans are primitive. The specimens will help us understand." "Specimens? Plural," interrupted Counselor V, her body glowing with warning colors. "How many human young have you taken?" 5, Krell admitted. "Krell, from different regions to ensure genetic diversity." The chamber erupted in shouting and angry gestures. Elder Tholak rose to his full height of nearly 10 feet. Towering over the Draxian ambassador. "You fool," Tholak bellowed. "The humans are not what they seem. 3 cycles ago, we lost contact with the observation post in their asteroid belt. 2 cycles before that, our probes around their world went silent one by one." The elder paused, his 4 eyes narrowing. "They are not primitive. They are dangerous, and you have given them cause for war." Just then, the chamber's alarm system activated. All screens showed the same message transmitted in perfect Concordat standard language. "Return our children. You have 48 hours." The council members sat in stunned silence. Then the defense minister spoke up. "How did they track the Eternal Vigilance? How did they learn our language? How did they even reach us so quickly?" No one had answers, but they soon received more shocking news. 6 unknown vessels had appeared at the edge of the Xandar system. They were approaching rapidly, ignoring all communications from Concordat defense forces. On board Earth's Vengeance, Captain Linda Martinez looked at the beautiful alien world growing larger on her view screen. Her ship's sensors detected hundreds of alien vessels moving to intercept them. "They're scrambling their defenses," her tactical officer reported. Linda's expression remained calm. "Send the message again. They have 48 hours to return the children unharmed, or we will take them back by force." In the ship's preparation bay, Major Steve Russell and his enhanced Nemesis team made final checks on their combat suits. The serum had changed them in ways that went beyond physical strength. They could now understand the alien language without translators. They could operate in vacuum without protection. They had become the perfect weapons against an advanced enemy. "We're ready," Steve told Captain Martinez over the comm. "Just get us close enough to board their station." As the human fleet approached, the Concordat faced a terrible realization. They had gravely underestimated humanity. The Concordat defense fleet formed a protective barrier around Xandar Prime. 500 ships of various sizes positioned themselves between the approaching human vessels and the Council headquarters. They had never faced this situation before, an unknown species arriving uninvited at the heart of their civilization. On the Council station, Elder Tholak watched the human ships with growing concern. They were unlike any vessels he had seen before, combining different technologies in ways that shouldn't work together. The humans had clearly been scavenging and reverse engineering concordant technology for years. How long until the eternal vigilance arrives? He asked the defense minister. They're entering the system now, the minister replied. Commander Zixavan has been ordered to bring the human children directly to the medical facility. Tholak nodded. Perhaps, if we return the children quickly, we can avoid bloodshed, Ambassador Krell disagreed. We cannot show weakness to a primitive species. Our fleet outnumbers them hundreds to one. Numbers mean nothing if we do not understand our enemy, Tholak replied quietly. And clearly, we do not understand humans at all. Aboard Earth's Vengeance, Captain Linda Martinez studied the alien fleet blocking their path. Her tactical officer reported that the aliens had weapons locked on them but had not fired yet. They're waiting for us to make the first move, Linda said. Open a channel to all concordant vessels. When the connection was established, Linda spoke clearly and firmly. This is Captain Linda Martinez of Earth. We have come for our children. Return them immediately and we will leave your system in peace. Refuse, and we will take them by force. The reply came from the defense minister himself. Your children are being transported to the council station. You will be permitted to send 2 unarmed representatives to retrieve them. No weapons, no tricks. Linda smiled grimly. Do they really think we trust them? She asked her officers. Then to the aliens, she replied, Agreed. We will send representatives in 1 hour. In the preparation bay, Major Steve Russell and his team continued their preparations. The Nemesis serum had changed them in ways the scientists hadn't predicted. They could now detect energy fields. They could communicate with each other without speaking. Dr. Paul Evans ran another scan on Steve. Your cellular structure is still changing, he said with concern. The serum is adapting to your DNA much faster than we expected. Steve looked at his hands, which had a faint blue glow under certain lights. Will it kill us? I don't know, Paul admitted. But I can say one thing for certain. You aren't entirely human anymore. Steve nodded. None of that matters. We get those kids back, no matter what. On the Eternal Vigilance, Peter Collins began to wake up as the stasis field was gradually lowered. He blinked confusedly, still clutching his stuffed dinosaur. When he saw Zixavan standing over him, his eyes widened in terror. Where am I? Peter asked, his voice small and frightened. I want my dad. Zixavan was surprised the boy could speak so clearly after days in stasis. You are safe, he said, the translation device on his chest converting his clicks and hisses into English. We are taking you to a safe place. Peter looked around at the strange medical bay, taking in the alien technology and the other stasis pods containing 4 more children from different parts of Earth. Unlike most adults would, he didn't scream or panic. Instead, he studied everything carefully. You're aliens, he said simply. Real aliens, and you took us from Earth. Zixavan was impressed by the child's calmness. Yes, we need to study your species. You will not be harmed. Peter clutched his dinosaur tighter. My dad will come for me. He promised he'd always protect me. Zixavan didn't respond. What could one human father possibly do against the might of the Concordat? The Eternal Vigilance docked with the council station. The 5 human children were transferred to the medical facility under heavy guard. Scientists from various species prepared to begin their examinations, but just as they started setting up their equipment, alarms blared throughout the station. On all screens appeared a message that was impossible to ignore. We are here for our children. In the main council chamber, chaos erupted as reports came in of human vessels engaging the defense fleet. The aliens had expected a simple negotiation, perhaps posturing from the primitive humans. Instead, they got a coordinated attack unlike anything they had seen before. How are they bypassing our shields? The defense minister shouted over the noise. Their weapons shouldn't be able to penetrate our defenses. On the tactical display, concordate ships were being disabled one by one. The human vessels moved with surprising speed and coordination, focusing their fire on propulsion systems and weapons arrays rather than destruction. They're clearing a path, Tholak realized. They don't want to destroy us. They just want their children back. Meanwhile, a small shuttle departed from Earth's vengeance. Inside were Major Steve Russell and Lieutenant Amy Ward, both enhanced by the Nemesis serum. They appeared unarmed as promised, dressed in simple uniforms without weapons. The shuttle was granted permission to dock at the council station. Security teams met them at the airlock. The aliens scanned the humans thoroughly, finding no weapons or communication devices. Take us to the children, Steve demanded. The alien guards led them through the massive station. Steve and Amy memorized every turn, every security checkpoint. They weren't actually unarmed. The Nemesis serum had changed their bodies into weapons more powerful than any gun. In the medical facility, Peter Collins sat on an examination table, still refusing to let go of his stuffed dinosaur. When the door opened and he saw two humans enter, his face lit up with hope. "Are you from Earth?" he asked. Steve knelt before the boy. "Yes, Peter. We've come to take you and the other children home." One of the alien scientists stepped forward. "You may take the children after we complete our examination. The council has authorized..." Steve cut him off with a look. "There will be no examinations. We're leaving now, with all 5 children." The alien security team moved to block the exit. "You will follow protocol," their leader insisted. Amy smiled coldly. "No, we won't." What happened next shocked everyone in the room. Steve and Amy moved faster than the aliens could track, disarming the guards without effort. The Nemesis serum gave them reflexes and strength that seemed impossible. Steve's skin glowed blue as he tore through the security team's armor with his bare hands. Amy leaped 15 feet into the air, dodging energy blasts and taking down 3 guards before they could react. In less than 30 seconds, all 12 alien guards lay unconscious on the floor. Not dead. The humans had been careful not to kill anyone. Peter watched with wide eyes. "Wow," he whispered. "Are you superheroes?" Steve smiled kindly as he gathered the boy in his arms. "No, Peter. We're just parents, and parents will do anything to protect their children." Alarms blared throughout the council station. Red lights flashed in every corridor. The defense systems detected unauthorized movement in the medical sector where the human children were being held. Elder Tholak watched the security feed with growing horror. The 2 humans moved with impossible speed and strength, carrying the children and fighting their way through security teams as if they were nothing. "What are they?" Counselor V asked, her bioluminescent patterns flashing in. "Distress. They are what we feared," Tholak replied quietly. "A species that adapts faster than any we have encountered before." In the corridor leading from the medical sector to the docking bays, Major Steve Russell carried Peter Collins and another child, a girl from Tokyo. Lieutenant Amy Ward carried the other 3 children. All 5 kids were awake now, watching, with wide eyes as their rescuers fought through the alien station. A security door slammed shut ahead of them. Amy set the children down gently. "Stay back," she told them. Then she walked up to the thick metal door, placed her hands on it, and pushed. The metal groaned and bent under her enhanced strength. With a final effort, she tore the door from its frame. "Wow," whispered Peter, clutching his dinosaur toy tightly. Steve smiled at the boy. "We've got some new tricks. Now let's keep moving. Our ride home is waiting." They continued through the station, encountering more resistance with each level they passed. The concordate security forces grew more desperate, using stronger weapons and greater numbers. In one large chamber, they were surrounded by 30 guards with energy weapons. The situation looked impossible, even for the enhanced humans. The lead guard stepped forward. "Surrender now, you cannot escape." Steve and Amy exchanged glances. Then Amy handed her 3 children to Steve. Get them to the shuttle, she said. I'll handle this. Steve hesitated, then nodded. He knew what Amy was about to do. The Nemesis serum had given them abilities beyond strength and speed. Each of them had developed unique powers that even the scientists on Earth hadn't predicted. As Steve rushed the children toward the exit, Amy stood in the center of the room. Her skin began to glow bright blue. The aliens watched in confusion as energy crackled around her body. Last chance to move aside, Amy warned the guards. When they raised their weapons instead, Amy released the energy she had been gathering. A wave of blue light pulsed outward from her body, disrupting all technology in its path. The aliens' weapons died instantly. Their armor systems failed. Even the lights in the room went dark. In the darkness, Amy ran to catch up with Steve and the children. Meanwhile, outside the station, the battle between the human fleet and the Concordate defense forces continued. Earth's ships were fewer in number but fought with unexpected tactics. They didn't try to destroy the alien vessels, only disable them. Captain Linda Martinez watched from the bridge of Earth's Vengeance as her tactical officer reported incoming transmissions. We're receiving emergency signals from several Concordate ships, the officer said. They're asking for medical assistance. Linda nodded. Send medical teams to any ship that surrenders. We're not here to slaughter them. Her communications officer looked up suddenly. Captain, I'm receiving a message from Major Russell. They have the children and are heading for the extraction point. On the council station, Ambassador Krell stormed into the council chamber. We cannot allow this insult. We must destroy the human vessels immediately. Elder Tholak rose from his seat. And kill the children? Is that your solution? They are just specimens, Krell insisted. Tholak's skin darkened with anger. No, they are children. We were wrong to take them, and the humans are right to come. For them, the defense minister reported new developments. The human shuttle is approaching Docking Bay 12. I've ordered elite troops to intercept them. In the corridor leading to the docking bay, Steve and Amy faced their toughest challenge yet. 20 elite Concordate soldiers blocked their path, using advanced shielding technology that resisted Amy's energy pulses. Steve set the children down behind a barricade. Stay here. Don't move until we come for you. Peter looked up at Steve with determined eyes. You'll beat them, right? Like superheroes. Steve smiled, despite the danger. We'll try. Our best, Peter. The two enhanced humans charged forward, meeting the elite alien forces head-on. The battle was fierce. Even with their Nemesis-granted abilities, Steve and Amy were pushed to their limits. For the first time, they were wounded, blue blood seeping, from cuts that healed almost instantly. In the council chamber, the leaders of the Concordate watched the battle with mixed feelings. Some, like Krell, cheered for their troops. Others, like Tholak, saw the bigger picture. Look at them, Tholak said, pointing to the humans fighting desperately to protect the children. They crossed the stars, faced our fleet, invaded our station. All for their offspring. What would they do if we truly threatened their world? The defense minister had no answer. The tactical display showed the human fleet holding its own against forces 10 times their size. It should have been impossible. Back in the corridor, Steve and Amy had defeated half the elite troops, but they were tiring. The Nemesis serum had limits and they were reaching them. Just when it seemed they might fail, something unexpected happened. Peter Collins, watching from behind the barricade, made a decision. The boy slipped away from the other children and ran down a side passage. Moment later, alarms sounded in a different part of the station. The remaining elite troops received new orders and rushed away, leaving only 5 to guard the path to the docking bay. Steve and Amy quickly defeated these remaining guards and gathered the children. Where's Peter? Steve asked suddenly, counting. Only 4 children. One of the other kids pointed down the corridor. He went that way. He said he was going to help. Amy looked horrified. How could he help? He's just a child. At that moment, Peter returned, running as fast as his 8-year-old legs could carry him. Behind him came sounds of chaos and confusion. I found a room with lots of buttons, Peter explained breathlessly, still clutching his dinosaur toy. I pushed some and pulled some levers. The aliens all ran away when the alarm started. Steve couldn't help but laugh as he picked up the boy. "You're quite the little soldier, aren't you?" The path to the docking bay now clear, the humans and children boarded their shuttle. As they prepared to launch, a transmission came through, from the council. On the screen appeared Elder Tholak, his ancient face solemn. "Humans of Earth, we have much to discuss. But first, take your children home safely. This should never have happened." Steve nodded at the alien elder. "We agree, but know this. If you ever threaten our world or our children again, what you saw today was just a glimpse of what humanity is capable of." The shuttle detached from the station and headed back to Earth's vengeance. As they flew away, Peter looked out the window at the alien ships. "Are we safe now?" he asked. Amy smiled at the boy. "Yes, Peter. We're going home." 1 year had passed since the rescue of the 5 human children from the Concordat. The Earth's secret space program was no longer secret. Governments around the world had revealed the truth to their citizens. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and Earth had been preparing for this reality for decades. Peter Collins sat in his backyard looking up at the night sky. His father John watched from the porch, still amazed that his son had returned safely. The experience had changed Peter. He was still a normal 8-year-old in many ways. He loved dinosaurs, played video games, and complained about homework. But sometimes John would find his son staring at the stars with a look far too serious for a child. "Dad," Peter called out, "do you think they'll come back?" John walked over and sat beside his son on the grass. "The Concordat? I don't think so. Not after what happened." After the rescue mission, the human fleet had returned to Earth with all 5 children. The Concordat had not pursued them. Instead, messages arrived, requesting to establish diplomatic relations. Elder Tholak himself had sent a formal apology for the abductions. "I don't mean the bad aliens," Peter said. "I mean Lieutenant Meal. She was nice to me. She sneaked me extra food and told me stories about other planets." John was surprised. Peter rarely talked about his time on the alien ship. "You never mentioned her before." Peter shrugged. "She gave me something before the rescue team came." He pulled a small device from his pocket, something that looked like a smooth stone with faint lights inside it. "It's a communicator." She said, "If I ever wanted to talk to her, I could use this." John stared at the alien technology in his son's hand. "Have you used it?" Peter shook his head. "Not yet. I wasn't sure if I should." Miles away in Washington, D.C., Captain Linda Martinez, now Admiral Martinez, sat in a meeting with world leaders. On screens around the room were images of the first official human embassy being built on Xandar Prime. "Construction will be complete next month," Linda reported. "Ambassador Wilson is already preparing for the opening ceremony." Karen Wilson had been an unexpected choice for Earth's first galactic ambassador. Before the revelation of alien life, she had been a kindergarten teacher from Ohio. But her understanding of children and education had given her unique insight into how different species learn and grow. The Concordat representatives found her approach refreshing. "And the technology exchange?" asked the president. Linda nodded. "Going well. The Concordat is honoring the agreement. They provide medical and environmental technology, and we share our cultural and educational materials." The treaty signed between Earth and the Concordat included strict terms. Humanity would maintain its military capabilities. No aliens would be allowed to visit Earth without permission. And most importantly, the Concordat acknowledged Earth's sovereignty and right to protect its citizens throughout the galaxy. What the Concordat leaders found most surprising was humanity's willingness to forgive. After the initial anger over the abductions, humans had shown remarkable restraint. They hadn't demanded punishment for those responsible. They hadn't asked for weapons or military technology. Instead, they requested knowledge that would help heal their planet and advance their society. In a research facility near Seattle, Dr. Paul Evans monitored the 12 volunteers who had received the Nemesis serum. Major Steve Russell and Lieutenant Amy Ward sat in medical pods as scanners studied their changed biology. "How much longer do we need to stay in these things?" Steve asked, clearly bored. Paul checked the readings. Just a few more minutes. The changes have stabilized, which is good news. The Nemesis serum had permanently altered the volunteers. They were stronger and faster than normal humans. They healed quickly from injuries. Each had developed unique abilities that scientists were still trying to understand. They had become something new. Not quite human anymore, but not alien either. Any word from the Concordat scientists about reversing the effects? Amy asked. Paul shook his head. They say the process is irreversible, but they've offered to help us understand and control the changes better. On Xandar Prime, Elder Tholak met with Ambassador Krell in a private garden. The Draxian ambassador had been demoted after the abduction scandal, but not removed from the council. The human embassy is almost complete, Tholak said. Soon their ambassador will take up permanent residence here. Krell clicked his mandibles nervously. Do you trust them? After what their warriors did to our security forces? Tholak considered the question carefully. I do not fear them, if that's what you're asking. They could have destroyed our fleet, killed our soldiers, but they chose restraint. Because they got what they wanted, Krell argued. Their offspring. Yes, Tholak agreed. And that is precisely why I believe we can trust them. They value life, especially the lives of their young. It is a principle we share. Back on Earth, Peter Collins finally made a decision. With his father's permission, he activated the alien communicator. A small hologram appeared above it, showing the blue-skinned alien with long antennae. Peter, Lieutenant Meal said, her antenna twitching with surprise and joy. You contacted me. Are you well? Are you safe? Peter smiled. I'm good. I'm home with my dad. I wanted to ask you something. Anything, Meal replied. Why did you help me on the ship? You gave me extra food and that game thing to play with. You were nice when some of the others weren't. Meal's antennae drooped slightly. Because it was wrong what we did. Taking you from your home, your family. I have offspring too. 3 little ones. I kept thinking about how I would feel if someone took them. Peter nodded seriously. That's what my dad said. He said parents are the same everywhere, even on other planets. Your father is wise, Meal said. Perhaps someday, when relations between our peoples improve, you could visit Xandar, Prime properly, as a guest, not a prisoner. Peter's eyes lit up. That would be awesome. I could bring my dinosaur collection and show you. As they talked, John Collins watched his son with pride and wonder. The boy who had been kidnapped by aliens, rescued by super soldiers, and returned home safely, was now casually chatting with an alien light years away about dinosaur toys. In that moment, John understood what the Concordat had learned the hard way. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't technology or weapons, or even the enhanced abilities of the Nemesis soldiers. It was their capacity to forge connections, to build bridges across any distance, even the vast gulf between worlds. The universe had indeed awakened a sleeping giant in humanity. Not just a species capable of terrible vengeance, but one equally capable of remarkable understanding and forgiveness. As the first human embassy prepared to open on a distant world, the message was clear. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again.